My wife demanded, "I want an open marriage. Take it or leave it." I said, "Let's try it." Then she caught an STD from her first date on our anniversary weekend. When the doctor asked for my contact information, original post, I, 34 male, have been married for 6 years, together for 9, and apparently living in a delusion for at least 2 of those. 3 weeks ago, my wife sat me down after dinner with this weirdly rehearsed energy. You know that vibe when someone's been practicing what they're going to say in the shower? Yeah, that. She goes, "I've been doing a lot of soul searching, and I think we need to evolve our relationship. I want an open marriage." I just stared at her, like genuinely thought she was joking for a solid 10 seconds. She wasn't. "I've been reading about ethical non-monogamy," she continued. "Monogamy is actually a social construct that doesn't work for everyone. I think we'd both be happier if we explored connections with other people." I asked her if there was someone specific she wanted to explore connections with. She got defensive real quick. "This isn't about anyone else. This is about personal growth and authenticity." Uh-huh. I told her I needed time to think. She said fine, but then hit me with, "I need you to understand this isn't negotiable for me. I want an open marriage. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it." After 9 years. Here's the thing, though. I'm not an idiot. When your spouse suddenly wants to open the marriage, and it's not about anyone specific, it's always about someone specific. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I started paying attention. Checked our credit card statements. Found charges at restaurants I'd never heard of during lunch hours when she was supposedly swamped at work. A charge at a boutique hotel downtown from 2 months ago. She told me that was a mental health day where she got a room to decompress. Right? I quietly consulted a divorce attorney just to know my options. Learned some interesting things about how infidelity before an open marriage agreement affects proceedings in our state. Also learned that our state requires a separation period before divorce, which gave me time to think strategically. After a week of thinking, I told her I was willing to try the open marriage. The relief on her face was almost funny. She tried to play it cool, but she literally couldn't stop smiling. Talked about ground rules and communication, and this is going to make us stronger. I suggested we both wait until after our anniversary to start anything. You know, respect the milestone and all that. Our 7th anniversary was 2 weeks away. She agreed, but I could tell she was annoyed about it. Kept bringing up how arbitrary timelines were. Our anniversary fell on a Saturday. I made reservations at her favorite restaurant 3 weeks in advance. Got us tickets to a show she'd been wanting to see. Thursday before the anniversary, she tells me she has a work conference that weekend. The whole weekend. Leaving Friday, back Sunday night. "Can't you reschedule?" I asked. "It's our anniversary." She gave me this look, like I was being unreasonable. "I can't control when conferences are scheduled. We can celebrate the following weekend." I said okay. She packed a bag Friday morning. Kissed me on the cheek. Said she'd text when she got there. She did text. Once. Made it safe. Super busy. Talk soon. I spent our anniversary eating the dinner reservation alone. The hostess gave me this pitying look when I said my wife couldn't make it. I tipped well and went home. Sunday night, she didn't come home. Texted me saying the conference ran long and she'd be back Monday evening. Monday at 6 p.m., she walked in looking rough, pale, tired, said she'd picked something up and wasn't feeling well. Tuesday morning, she went to the doctor. I figured it was just a bug. Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number while I was at work. It was a nurse from a clinic I'd never heard of. She was calling to speak with my wife's spouse about potential exposure to a sexually transmitted infection and asking if I could come in for testing. I played dumb. Asked what kind of infection. She couldn't give details over the phone, but said my wife had listed me as a sexual contact and given them my number. I told her I hadn't had sexual contact with my wife in over 3 weeks, and that I'd be happy to come in and provide that information along with the exact date we last had contact. Dead silence on the other end. "Sir, I think there may be some confusion. Your wife indicated." "There's no confusion," I said. "My wife has been sleeping with someone else. I'm not a contact, but thank you for letting me know." I hung up. Then I texted my wife. Got an interesting call from a clinic. "We need to talk when I get home." No response for 2 hours. Then It's not what you think. It's not what I think. Classic. I came home to find her sitting on the couch, looking like she'd been crying. She launched into this whole explanation about how she'd gone on one date with someone she met online. It was after we'd agreed to open the marriage, and this was just incredibly bad luck. On our anniversary weekend, I said. The conference that ran long. She started crying harder. I know the timing was bad, but we agreed. We agreed to wait until after our anniversary, which you spent with another man. And now you have an STD. She went off, started yelling about how I was being judgmental, and this was exactly why she'd wanted to explore other connections in the first place. Because I was controlling and suffocating. I let her yell. Then I told her I wanted a divorce. She stopped mid-sentence. What? Divorce? I'll be staying with my brother until we figure out the separation. My attorney will be in touch. Your attorney? You already have an attorney? I consulted one when you first brought up the open marriage. Just in case. The look on her face. I wish I had a picture. She tried to backtrack so fast. Suddenly she didn't really want an open marriage. She was just confused. She loved me. She made a mistake. One mistake. We could work through this. You made several mistakes, I said. You cheated before we had any agreement. You lied about a conference on our anniversary. You exposed me to an STD. And now you're only sorry because there are consequences. I packed a bag and left. She followed me to the car, barefoot on the driveway, begging me to stay and talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. You gave me an ultimatum. Take it or leave it. I'm leaving it. That was 3 days ago. I'm at my brother's place. My phone has been blowing up nonstop. Her mom, her sister, 2 of her friends, all telling me I'm overreacting, that everyone makes mistakes, that I'm throwing away 6 years of marriage over one slip-up. Her mom actually had the audacity to call me vindictive for already having a lawyer. Like I was the one who planned this. I'm not vindictive. I'm just done. We'll update as things develop. Currently waiting on the official separation paperwork. Update 1, 5 days later. So, things have escalated. First, thanks to everyone who reached out after my last post. The support means more than you know. Also to the people who asked if I got tested. Yes, I did. Came back clean, which was a relief, but also kind of obvious since we hadn't been intimate in weeks before her conference. Now, for the update. My wife has apparently decided that since crying didn't work, she's going to try a different approach, making my life as difficult as possible until I come back. Day 1 after I left, she called my boss. My boss. Told him she was concerned about my mental health and that I'd walked out on my family, and she was worried I might be having a breakdown. My boss is a reasonable guy. He pulled me aside and asked if everything was okay. I gave him the short version. He was sympathetic and said to take whatever time I needed, but JFC. Calling my work? Day 2, she showed up at my brother's place. Just appeared at the door at 9 p.m. My brother answered, and she pushed past him into the living room where I was watching TV. We need to talk. Alone. My brother looked at me. I shook my head. Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of him. She didn't like that. Started with the tears again. Then when that didn't work, switched to anger. Told me I was humiliating her by staying with my brother instead of working on our marriage like an adult. You humiliated yourself, I said, and me, on our anniversary, with another man, while catching an STD. IT was chlamydia. It's treatable. You're acting like I have some incurable disease. The disease isn't the point. She went on this rant about how I never supported her, how I was always emotionally unavailable, how she'd been unhappy for years and I never noticed. All the classic Darvo stuff. My brother finally stepped in, told her she needed to leave or he'd call the cops. She called him some names I won't repeat and left. Day 3, the family bombardment intensified. Her sister sent me this long text about how marriage is for better or worse, and I was a coward for giving up. I responded with a screenshot of the credit card statement showing the hotel charge from 2 months ago before any open marriage discussion, and asked if she knew about that. She left me on read. Her mom called me 4 times. I finally answered, and she immediately started lecturing me about how marriage takes work, and I was being cruel by involving lawyers so quickly. Did she tell you she was cheating before we ever discussed opening the marriage? Silence. Did she tell you she skipped our anniversary to sleep with another man? Well, she explained that the timeline is that she was sleeping with someone else while telling me our marriage was fine, then demanded I accept an open relationship so she could keep doing it with permission. I'm not the villain here. She hung up on me. Day 4, things got interesting. My wife texted asking if we could meet somewhere neutral to discuss how to divide things fairly. I agreed, thinking maybe she'd finally accepted reality. We met at a coffee shop. She showed up looking put together, which was different from the mess I'd seen at my brother's. Had a folder with her. She slid a piece of paper across the table. I had my friend, who's a paralegal, look things over. This is what I think is fair. I read it. She wanted the house. The car, which was in my name, bought before the marriage. Alimony for 5 years. And she wanted me to pay her health insurance until she got back on her feet. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. This isn't a negotiation, she said, face going red. I supported your career for years. I put my own goals on hold. You make more than I do. That's not the point. It's exactly the point. You make more money than me. You cheated on me. You gave me an ultimatum. And now you want me to pay you? For what exactly? She started talking about emotional labor and how she'd carried the relationship. And honestly, I just stopped listening. Stood up, put a 5 on the table for my coffee, and told her my lawyer would be in touch with an actual fair settlement. She grabbed my arm. If you walk away from this, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are. What kind is that? The kind who abandons his wife the second things get hard. I pulled my arm free. Things got hard when you started sleeping with someone else. I'll let my lawyer know about the threats, though. That'll be helpful. Day 5 today. Got a text from a mutual friend asking if it was true that I'd been emotionally abusive throughout my marriage. My wife has apparently started a little PR campaign. I responded with a simple, no. She cheated. She caught an STD from the other man. She's not handling the divorce well. He responded with, damn bro, and that was that. My lawyer says we'll file formal divorce papers next week. Our state has a mandatory waiting period, so this won't be quick. She's entitled to some things. We did accumulate shared assets during the marriage, but her list of demands is fantasy land, and my lawyer seems almost amused by it. Her mom texted me this afternoon. Just one line. I hope you know you're destroying her. I didn't respond. What's there to say? She destroyed us. I'm just filing the paperwork. More updates to come. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Final update, because honestly, I need to stop living in this drama and start moving forward. A lot has happened. Let me break it down. Week 1 after my last post, my wife hired a lawyer. An expensive one, apparently, based on the aggressive letter I received demanding I vacate our shared residence, which, reminder, I'd already left voluntarily, and accusing me of financial abuse for canceling joint credit cards after separation. My lawyer responded pointing out that A, I wasn't living in the house, B, canceling joint credit during separation is standard procedure and not abuse, and C, we had documentation of her infidelity which was relevant to proceedings in our state. Their response was to request a meeting, a negotiation session. Fine. The meeting was at my lawyer's office. My wife showed up with her attorney, this sharp-looking woman who clearly cost a lot per hour. My wife wouldn't look at me directly. Her lawyer presented a revised settlement. Still wanted alimony, but only 3 years. Still wanted me to pay the mortgage until the house sold, even though she was living there rent-free. And she wanted me to sign something saying I wouldn't disparage her publicly. The disparagement clause, her lawyer explained, is important to my client given the sensitive nature of the circumstances. I looked at my wife. Sensitive nature. You mean the STD you got from cheating on our anniversary? Her lawyer pursed her lips. I'd encourage everyone to keep the conversation professional. My lawyer laid out our counter. 50-50 split of assets accumulated during marriage. She keeps her retirement, I keep mine. House gets sold. No alimony given her higher income. Clean break. My wife finally spoke. That's not fair. It's completely fair, I just said. You make more money than me. You cheated. You don't get rewarded for that. I gave you 6 years of my life. And I gave you 6 years of mine. Difference is, I was faithful for all of them. Her lawyer suggested a break. In the hallway, I could hear my wife crying and her lawyer speaking in low tones. When we reconvened, the demands had dropped significantly, but she was still pushing for alimony. Even a year, she said. Just a transition. My lawyer looked at me. I thought about it. 1 year of alimony. That's it. And she waives any claim to my retirement or the car. Her lawyer started to object, but my wife cut her off. Fine. Just, let's be done. That was the beginning of the end. Week 2, the house went on the market. My wife had been living there alone, and apparently it was not in great shape. She'd been struggling. Her mom came to stay with her for support, which I only know because her mom texted me asking if I was happy now that her daughter was having panic attacks. I didn't respond. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember the guy she was seeing? The conference guy? Turns out he was married too. His wife found out, not from me, I want to be clear, but from their shared credit card. Hotel charges he couldn't explain. She put 2 and 2 together. His wife reached out to me through social media. Just wanted to compare notes, she said. We talked on the phone for about an hour. She'd suspected for months, but didn't have proof until now. She was filing for divorce too. She told me something that honestly made my jaw drop. This guy had been telling my wife he was going to leave his wife for her. Had been promising this for months. My wife apparently believed him. Thought they were going to ride off into the sunset together once our marriages imploded. Guess what happened when his wife found out and confronted him? He told her my wife was crazy and obsessed with him, and that she pursued him relentlessly. Said it was a mistake. Begged for forgiveness. His wife isn't taking him back, but the point is, he threw my wife under the bus completely. When my wife found out he wasn't leaving his wife for her. When she realized the guy she'd blown up her marriage for had called her crazy to save his own skin, let's just say I heard she didn't take it well. Week 3, this brings us to now. The house sold. Not for as much as we'd hoped. It needed work we hadn't done, but enough to split and move on. After lawyer fees and splitting the equity, I walked away with enough for a deposit on an apartment and some savings. Not wealthy, but free. My wife has been quiet. The PR campaign stopped. The flying monkey stopped. According to mutual friends, she's been staying with her mom, not working much, dealing with health stuff. I don't ask for details. Her mom sent me one final message last week. I'll share it because it's almost poetic in how it captures the whole entitled mindset. I hope one day you realize the damage you've done. My daughter loved you and made one mistake. You could have been forgiving and worked through this like a real man. Instead, you chose revenge and lawyers and cruelty. She's lost her husband, her home, her dignity, and the man she thought cared about her turned out to be a liar. All because you couldn't forgive. I hope you're proud of yourself. I read it twice. Then I typed back, your daughter gave me an ultimatum. Open marriage or divorce. I chose divorce. Everything that happened after is a consequence of her choices. She chose to cheat. She chose to lie. She chose to spend our anniversary with another man. She chose wrong. I'm not proud or ashamed. I'm just done. She didn't respond. I moved into my own place last weekend. It's small. 1 bedroom in a decent neighborhood. I've got my stuff from the marriage that mattered. Some books, my computer, kitchen stuff I actually use. The rest got sold or donated. I'm not going to pretend I'm thriving. Some nights are rough. 9 years is a long time to spend with someone, and even when the ending is justified, it still hurts. I miss the good parts. I miss who I thought she was, but I don't miss who she actually turned out to be. My lawyer sent the final papers yesterday. Divorce will be finalized in about 60 days, once the waiting period is over. After that, I'll probably delete this account and move on completely. For anyone going through something similar, trust your gut. When something feels off, it usually is. Document everything. Get a lawyer early. And don't let anyone, not your spouse, not their family, not society, guilt you into accepting treatment you don't deserve. She gave me an ultimatum. Take it or leave it. I left it. No regrets. Thanks for following along. Take care of yourselves.